So we are recording, aren't we? Should we just get...
I should be.
Should we do a funny introduction?
Yeah, just gotta make sure everybody's ready and etc.
My internet is being kind of... I think it's done now.
Alright. So we're good? We're good?
So we're gonna start by introducing ourselves. And then saying some of the stuff that we do or may be known for. And then we can get started.
Yeah.
So
Right.
So who wants to introduce themselves first?
I guess I can do it.
Yeah, since
hi.
you're like...
Hi, I am Etoile. I am the current, head admin of the Backrooms Wiki. I'm also a former SCP author on the SCP commune, and I generally make pretty poor decisions. And I'm also the author of the level 0 and 1 rewrites and the highest rated level besides level 0. So there's that. I don't know what clout that gets me, but
Yay.
show off.
Yeah.
I guess I'm next. I'm Rat. Or just Rat Scraps, as I'm known on the wiki. I'm a moderator, part of the critique team. I also currently run the official Backrooms Twitter. Wow. And I can't think of anything cool I can brag about writing other than well, I wrote the Entity 18 rewrite. That's something. So yeah, that's me. Hi.
He is British, and there's nothing you can do about it.
No!
Don't expose him already. Hi everyone, I'm Ray, also known as 1000 Dumplings. You may know me as the creator of the original Level 0 rewrite, the archived one. I also made the Game Master and the Party Goers, so if you hate those guys, I'm sorry. And I made a couple other cool levels, but I'm also a staff member and part of the critique team. And I also made this YouTube channel that you're listening to this on right now, unless this is on something else right now, which it probably isn't.
Yay. So the gang's all here.
So, how are you guys doing tonight? How you guys doing tonight?
I'm doing alright. You know, you know how it is.
You know how it is with spaghetti.
Yeah.
That's a hashtag relatable moment.
So I was thinking a good question to kick this off with would be, how did we get here? Because I think that's a good answer for all of us. Rachel, you've been here the longest, if you want to start.
Yeah, just how I got to this point in my life where I'm in the Backrooms Wiki.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Or just where you encountered it first, and
how
you got to where you are now.
What's the deep lore?
Yeah. Well, it's actually kind of a funny story how I ended up here, because it kind of started with me entering a place that reminded me of the Backrooms. I was just chilling inside of a laundromat, just on my phone, on the floor. No one was around. And the place was like, this is kind of like those liminal spaces images, this creepy-ass laundromat. It was getting renovated at the moment, and it looked really, weird, and there was a giant, bright vending machine off in the back, so it was just, a very long, deep corridor with a bunch of, laundry equipment along. So it looked weird, and it took a picture of it, and it reminded me of the Backrooms, which was a meme at the time, so I was just kind of Googling random Backrooms, liminal spaces stuff, and eventually I just kind of found the old fandom wiki, and then from there, I guess I found a link that the old creator or someone posted, and I just ended up on the old Backrooms wiki, and I joined the Discord server, and I believe I was the 20th or 21st person to ever join it. So then I was like, oh, this looks like it has a lot of potential. I want to be a part of this right away. So I just started acting nice for everyone. Well, I mean, I am a nice person. I wasn't acting. I'm a really awesome person, and I'm also really smart. But I was just eventually just hanging out there because I thought it had a lot of potential. I thought it could grow to something really amazing, and luckily it did. I ended up kind of switching my position in staff for a while. That was kind of all over the place for a while, but now I'm happily sitting at just backroom staff, working on writing stuff. I also made some very popular entities, as I mentioned. The Game Master, the Party Goers. They're too popular. The party girls got too popular. That was a mistake. But that's pretty much how I got here.
Yay. Etoile, do you wanna
Sure.
say your
It's
kind of or how we both got into the Backrooms is kind of intertwined, so I guess
mine is a little bit further back than you, because what happened is that I am in a server with a bunch of my SCP author friends and a few other people, and the admin of that server, and when I say admin, it has no like leadership connotations. Like, this is just a friend of mine. He sent a link to the Backrooms, and I don't remember. I think it was almond water, and he was like, "What the fuck is this? LOL." Like, we just dunked on it for like an hour straight. Like, it was really, really funny for a while. I feel very mean saying that, but that is exactly what happened. We just dunked on it relentlessly. And then, like, someone sent a partygoers link and was like, "You know what? This place kind of has potential." And I was like, "Yeah." And then I started looking deeper into it, and I was like, "Dude, this is just edit this SCP. This is something in its infancy." And originally I joined, and I was like, "I'm going to fucking write Backrooms Duke till dawn." And then I had a little bit of a mental breakdown. And I wrote level 404. Well, I should note that for level 404, like, I know it's a format screw, but I didn't actually read any of the guidelines or anything. I didn't follow any of the rules, and that was kind of on purpose. I was like, I'm going to throw this at them, and if they like it, they like it, and if they don't, they don't. Like, this is a trial by fire here. And it turns out that nobody had ever actually seen poetry before, so it caught on pretty well, I guess, judging by what I said earlier.
Yeah, it's still like one of the most iconic levels.
Very unfair that you just
did that.
But, I do feel a little bit like I'm cheating.
I can't believe you took my spot as the highest rated.
Sorry.
That leaves with me, and well, for me it's pretty straightforward. My boyfriend has had an interest in the Backrooms way before me, and Z made this Twitter thread on it, and I was like, "Oh, that's fun." And then that culminated to my boyfriend talking about like writing something for the wiki, and I was like, "You know what? This could be interesting." And me and Etoile like joined at around the same time, and I had like this vague idea in my mind for like an entity, and so I was like, "You know what? I'm gonna write this." And then
was this before or after Catboy made over Circe?
We're not good. No, we are not going to mention that. We're just going to bury that deep into just a pile of hot steaming garbage.
Birch, when you're editing this, I want you to superimpose the image over it. I want everyone to see this.
No, fuck.
Jesus Christ.
Okay. Anyways, so that article I had culminating in my brain ended up with ants, and then I just sort of kind of disappeared for like a month or two. And I came back and I decided to apply for junior staff. And now I'm a moderator, and yay. So that's how I found out about the wiki. And yeah, I kind of had a similar feeling about it that Etoile had, that like, yeah, a lot of things are pretty rough around the edges, but like this is a community very much in its infancy that has a lot of potential. Like, I know a lot of people like dig at the wiki for, oh, it's an SCP ripoff, and like at first glance, yeah, and it probably like started out as an SCP ripoff, because like it literally says on the main page, I forget if it still says that.
It does.
Yeah, it says it's inspired by the SCP Wiki, but a lot of stuff, and there's straight up stuff that we still need to either delete or completely rewrite. That's just literally bootleg SCP stuff.
What?
But like, there's still some interesting stuff to be found. Like the whole thing with like multiple like formats, like how the SCP Wiki generally just has SCPs as their main articles, but like.
Nobody fucking reads GUI formats like ever.
Yeah, which is unfortunate because there's a lot of cool stuff to be done with that, but we're not an SCP podcast. We're not going to get into that. But like, we have levels and entities which both have lots of potentials, and there's also rooms which aren't used as much.
Don't
but I
forget
feel
objects.
like
You need objects.
yeah. But my
Love
question is, what
Huge fan of
what
objects.
is the difference between a room and a sub level?
Anyway,
Wow.
moving on, fellas. I don't think anyone's gonna answer that question.
We're not
Should
gonna
we
talk
delete-
about how the wiki works.
God.
We're not
mean,
ready for
it's
that
clear-
conversation yet. Let's wait till episode I don't know.
Can we delete the
11?
podcast?
Well,
Can we delete the podcast now?
Please
delete the wiki. Delete
delete the wiki.
no more. No
So-
more.
to
There's no
those-
more back.
To those of you who are listening who aren't staff, someone proposes deleting the wiki about every week.
Yay!
And every time everyone agrees, everyone's like, yeah, that's a
Man,
great
that would
idea.
be a really good. That would be such a good T-shirt. Delete the wiki
Someday-
T-shirt.
Someday we'll joke around about deleting the wiki, but then we'll actually delete
Yeah,
it.
someday I'm really just gonna pull the trigger.
No.
I really
No.
will.
Take
Like,
out
I
the
could
wiki
just do
with
it.
the
Oh,
game
you
style.
gave me this responsibility, and I can make you regret it.
Take Backrooms wiki out to the back.
Please,
chat.
I need my upvotes.
Pull the
man.
trigger. I mean, if the
Right?
entity
We've talked about this
hating
before. If
sim,
you
I
delete the
joke
wiki,
about
I'm gonna
actually
make the
becoming
Game
a thing.
Master wiki.
Do it. That's the real rival tour.
Yeah.
I could actually make that a theme. It probably wouldn't take me that long. I'm just a lazy bastard.
Someday I will
We s-
learn
yeah, we
CSS,
should-
and then you'll all be sorry.
It's not even
You
that
will
hard.
all
It's
be
just
sorry.
a lot of trial and error.
Yeah.
It looks
Not
so
that
hard.
reminds me, I
It
didn't
really
even
does.
discuss-
It really looks so difficult.
Annoying.
I get the grasp of coding pretty easily. I am just incredibly lazy, and I'm just like,
Yeah,
not today. Not today.
felt. But like, I didn't even like get to discuss my rise to staffhood, and I should note. I will also note. I don't want to be here. I don't want to be the
Can I
head
actually?
admin.
Can I say something about that first? Because I'm not gonna lie. The fact that you're even in part of the Backrooms is kind of like a by chance thing. Because when you and God, I forgot her name. The other SCP member. I'm an idiot. My mind's blanking on her name
Hylias?
right now. Yes, Hylias.
Mhm.
Yeah. So Ito and Hylias. Sorry, did I say that? Ito or Ito?
Whatever. Yeah,
Hylias.
whatever.
So Ito and Hylias,
Eto.
ex-SCP members, Eto and Hylias were both SCP ex-members that were actually banned from SCP, and I didn't notice at first because they were just normal members for a while. But when they did join, someone from SCP actually private messaged me because they were involved with the wiki because they were helping someone with CSS, I believe, or no, image uses actually, but whatever. And they told me, "Oh, you don't want these people on your site. They're ex-SCP and they're bad news. They did harassment. They did lying. They were real, you don't want them in your wiki." And I was like, "Oh shit, that doesn't seem very good. I'll make sure that we don't let them in the wiki." So I go to the staff and say, "Hey, keep an eye on these people. We might want to get them out of the wiki." And everyone was like, "Yeah, maybe, but they're SCP. We probably will ban them, but we'll keep an eye on them for now. We're not going to ban them right away." And then you skip forward a month, and now Ito is the owner of the wiki, and I am no longer in an administrative position. So
This
I think that was karma.
This is gonna be a
think
great
that's
look
that.
later.
You know the sick kind of irony in all of this is that Naf is the one who was gonna give me a chance. I think that's really just a really rich concept. But and we've only been talking for 20 minutes and we've already gotten to the deep staff drama, so I should probably reel it back a little bit.
This is gonna be a great podcast.
Yeah, so how about you just... Yeah, so just tell us from your perspective, how did you end up being a member of the wiki?
Okay. So I think what brought me on first is that the thing about me is that I am really good at tolerating shit. I will put up with a lot. And somebody's going to listen to this and be like, fuck no, you aren't. And the thing is, yes, I am. That's why I haven't left yet. Because if I wasn't very tolerant, I would be gone. I'm not tolerant as in, like, I let people do whatever they want, even though I try to do that as long as it's not hurting people. I'm tolerant as in, it takes a lot to get rid of me. I am like, an adorable little tick. I will not leave. That's why I'm still writing SCP adjacent stuff, even though I got mega banned. Like, you just can't get rid of me. I'm just too lovable. But yeah, well, I lost my train of thought. Where was I going with that? Yeah, that's why I'm still here, because I put up with shit, and I was like, everybody else was like, you need to get the fuck out of there, and I was like, no, I'm stupid, I want to stay here. And I was like, I think I can improve it, and lo and behold, I
change
feel like
the wiki. It's
I do feel like I've gotten a lot better. I feel like I've helped. I feel like I've made this place better.
Yeah.
No, agreed, yeah.
You have definitely like helped the community of like the wiki grow exponentially in quality, because before you came around, it was like a whole thing about like only critical tone. You cannot go outside of critical tone or else your article sucks and we will delete it. What the fuck is a format screw? I will literally kill you and your entire family if you even consider about going outside of critical tone. Oh God.
What I was banking on was that nobody had ever actually seen good writing before.
Yeah. Like I am so glad. I'm so glad the clinical tone thing didn't stay as long as it did, because I will admit, writing my first article was hard because getting used to the clinical tone is hard, and it feels like you can't really do anything interesting with it. Like, yeah, some articles work as a clinical tone thing, but like if you really want to like bring the quality of the wiki like up a level, you have to like do something interesting. And if everything is just said in matter of factly, like, oh, level poop fart is located in next to level shit poop, and
you're really trying, huh?
and it is this long and this wide, and don't stay in it for too long.
You know what I fucking hate? You know what I fucking hate?
What
is
do
that
you
thing
hate?
where somebody's like 20 and then they put in parentheses next to it 20, but with numbers this time. I will eradicate that from the wiki. Mark my words.
Yeah, like, but like with like the introduction of like level 404, it slowly like warmed the wiki up to format screws, and now format screws are like the norm. We don't have a format, we just have a loose thing to go off of, and it is so much better. And it is
that
so
is one
much
of the
more
things. That's one of the things I really like that did not stick around from the SCP wiki, because I don't think our original creator, who we will not name, really they just kind of took the format, and I think that with SCP there's a lot of it that does work, but a lot of that doesn't work for what we do. So I'm really glad that clinical tone is kind of not sticking to the wall as much as thing with the organization.
The thing with SCP is that like when as like at surface level, yeah, it most of it is in clinical tone, but like the best articles are the ones that take that like a step up and like form a narrative and stuff. And again, we're not an SCP podcast, so I won't linger on this for too long. But like the old clinical tone thing of like the old, like the before Etoile era was like, it was very much seemed like it was like taking a quick glance at the SCP wiki and be like, okay, yeah, that works. Does not look into why it works.
Yeah.
And they like it's like it took the skin of the SCP wiki without realizing why people like the SCP wiki, because like the SCP wiki has like a reason for like being in clinical tone, because the foundation itself is like a clinical place. But the Backrooms, we aren't the Meg wiki, and I will not pronounce it MEMEG. Fuck you.
Yeah.
We aren't the Meg wiki, we're the Backrooms wiki, which really leads to more like creative potential. So I was honestly astounded when I joined the wiki and saw how strict it was with clinical tone. And it was like, but like there's so much more to be done. What? So basically TLDR, thank God. No more clinical tone. We are free. We are free of our shackles.
All of this is correct, but it's also not the point I was making.
Listen, clinical tone kind of works for the Backrooms wiki if you're doing it like a survival guide thing.
It depends.
Where it's like,
it depends.
You know, you're doing it seriously, but not like clinically.
See, I wrote my Entity 1 in beginning in clinical tone and also ending with it because I wanted to show that kind of contrast of someone slowly slipping out of it. And that I think things like that are when it's important. Like if you're going to have a rigid format, it shouldn't be meaningful to break it.
Yeah.
Because like
none of
with
this was my
SCP,
point.
a lot of more of
My
it.
point was, I said I feel like I've improved this place, and that's not me bragging about my writing. It's I think I kind of got rid of a bunch of the fascists. I think that's a pretty good thing.
Really. Like when I joined the wiki, I'm going to be brutally honest here. It was just a very uncomfortable, welcoming place. It's like unwelcoming place because like I am a non-binary individual, and I just felt like I was always this close to getting misgendered, and it's so much more comforting now, like with a staff that's like mostly made out of also LGBT people, and like most of the like weird bad people have just like dug themselves a hole they cannot get themselves out of.
God, Reddit is just call so many slurs.
Yeah, and so it's just you've it's just been a much more welcoming place now, because like that's why I disappeared for a while after writing the ants article in the first place, because it was just like not a super welcoming place. But like I've known Etoile a while before backroom stuff, but like knowing that Z was like Z was now like a head admin like really helped it feel like a much more comfortable place. And I feel like after Z became like admin and stuff, it's just become a much more welcoming place. And like and the writing quality has also like increased tenfold. Like the quality is improving like so much quicker than it would have otherwise. I
worry sometimes that I'm trying to move things too fast, which is why I pulled back a little bit in recent times. But and I'm still trying to think back on like how I got here. Like I think I was originally accepted to junior staff because I was the only fucking person around here who knew anything about CSS. Because I demonstrated that with 404. And fragmented theme isn't even that
You were the second person. There was one other person, but they're kind of a dick.
I mean, yeah. No, he doesn't count. And 404 is still a little bit like slapdash. Like I could probably definitely improve it. I've been working on another theme for weeks now that should replace fragmented and look better than it. What was my dream?
Especially with new.
When I think it took longer for me to be promoted to a moderator than it did for me to be promoted to admin. And I should note here that I think me being put it as a head admin was like against my will. I wasn't like I will not do this, but I was also like, if you guys really want me to. And I will also be noting here that as soon as someone more qualified comes along, I will be handing it down. I don't want to stay like this forever.
Well, I was going to say something back on the topic of clinical tone, but it just returned to me as I was talking about how I forgot about that. But back on the topic of clinical tone, it definitely can work. It just there's no point in strictly enforcing it since we don't have like a reason to enforce it so strictly on every single article. Like if you're writing the article from a perspective of a group that like would write things in a clinical tone because they're making a database or whatever, like the Meg, for example, like that makes sense. And that's why like my articles that are like very clinical in tone usually use the Meg theme to make it clear that they're written by the Meg. But like there's no reason why clinical tone should be the default, because like it depending on like the perspective of like who or what is writing this, you should really have fun with it, which is why I had lots of fun with my Entity 18 rewrite, because I would be like, man, would it be fucked up if an entity wrote its own article? You know?
I have had
and
fun,
so that was a really fun one to write.
I have never in my life had fun on this website.
Yay!
Well, I mean, that's not true. I had a lot of fun writing my Entity one, and I had fun with my
You love to see it.
Yeah, your articles are very good.
Thank you.
I enjoy them. Smiles.
Yeah, I still have things I need to write, but I've admitted this before. I think I said this in discussions. I don't I don't really read the wiki. I don't know the lore.
Yeah, that's fair.
I can't. I can't believe
I'm making
you
shit up
still-
and hoping that it's better than what already exists, and it usually is.
I will
I'm just
also
saying.
be clear here that I don't read much articles except for like recent stuff.
Mhm.
Like a lot of the older stuff, unless I'm like looking at it and like pointing out that it needs to be rewritten, I don't really pay too much attention because like no point dwelling on the past, right? Unless it's like egregiously bad and needs to be rewritten.
Right.
Or
No, something
like
that
just
happened today reminded me of, I think, what is a really prevalent problem with this wiki, and also I think just most things in their infancy is that people like, well, no, I don't even mean this in a mean way. People just a lot, and this is also an effect of our user base is mostly children. People will come up with a cool idea, and they'll be like, "Here's this cool idea," and then the reader will go, "Cool, tell me more about it," and they're like, "No."
Or
That's it. That's all you get.
another like two sides of the same coin is someone just wants to write an article for the sake of writing an article and having it on the wiki when you should want to write an article because you want to explore an idea. Like, I understand the excitement of having something on like a website that people can read and people can like enjoy and that other people can write about if they have good ideas. But like at the same time, you have to actually have an idea because most things that come from just like wanting to have something out there, usually like you're just like forcing your creative juices. So with something like the Backrooms that doesn't have any deadlines unless you're writing for a contest, but that's a whole nother thing. You should really like take your time to like let your creative juices flow. And that can take as much as like a day or like an entire week. I've had both happen to me.
Right.
Creativity is a weird, odd thing.
But like, just to give an example from today, like you brought up Entity 87, it needs a rewrite because level 90 was rewritten to the point where it no longer makes sense. And like, how fucking dope as shit is the idea of like ethereal angels who have non-functional organs and like black blood that powderizes when it touches air, and it's a fucking drug that you can take, and it's like inhaling the blood of dead angels is just fucking metal as hell. And Miracle goes nowhere with it. It does nothing with it.
I completely forgot about that.
It's so
because
fucking
it was
cool.
just like brought up in like one log. But like that
I honestly had no idea that was even a thing.
Yeah, I know. It's like just cool shit like this is just sitting around and no one's doing anything with it. That's the problem.
So like, so many people like try and like elaborate on the wrong things. Like I don't want to know the exact biology of this weird thing. I just want to know like I don't. Yeah.
But like and not to bring up SCP again, but like this is kind of what I mean when I say this place is like old SCP. It's like there's a lot of things that are like, hey, this is a cool idea, and then there's nothing more done with it, and then people eventually picked it up and went, hey, this looks kind of cool. I want to make it into something bigger and better, and then they ran with it. And I think this is why there's a little bit more creative freedom here, where you can just drop a cool idea and let people help you elaborate on it. But I still think you need to give them that little push, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's why I have a lot of hope for this community, because it's a lot like the early SCP Wiki, and the SCP Wiki has had like a literal decade to like let itself develop.
We got time. We
have a bunch of time, and as we're doing it right now, we have a lot of progress done.
We also have an example
than the SCP Wiki had, and it's what there is some good stuff. Like I could like, there's the Red Knight, level 200, level 656. Trying to think of more things off the top of my head, but there's some good stuff, and like there's some and like Entity 18. Not to take my own writing as an example, but like Entity 18 pre-rewrite, I felt like there was something there that could have been done, but it was just, ooh, scary monster.
And I think your Entity 18 rewrite is a great example of the kind of thing I mean. Like, you don't elaborate the concept all the way. The article is not a self-contained narrative, and that's not a bad thing. You take a concept and you elaborate on it to the point where it hooks you, and then it drops you, and it makes you want to know more. It makes you want to write more about it. It makes you want to read more about it, and that's the exact kind of thing I think I want.
Yeah.
A lot of problems with the SCP Wiki in its current state is that it wants everything to be its own little self-contained thing and not inspirational. And I think Entity 18 is it's inspirational. People will want to read
with
this.
Entity 18, while I feel like the second half definitely isn't as good as the first half, I do still feel like I've had people like bring it up that it like might seem a little cheap, and I do understand that. I wasn't too sure if it would work or not, but I still feel like it works to some extent because it still doesn't like completely explain why he's so fucked up. He's like, it doesn't explain where this squid man comes from. He's just a fucked up squid man. Like, what if there was a guy and
people are just like that?
No, he's not fucking British. No.
But yeah, but like my point being, it's not a self-contained narrative. It is a concept that you successfully elaborate on, and it's going to make people want to do more with it.
Yeah, and I hope I can eventually write more stuff with him because I do think he's a really fun character. Sometimes it's fun to have just a dude.
We love a good capitalist,
just sucks.
You know?
Yeah, he's a good villain character. I think that's just fun.
No, shut up! I just had a terrible realization. He's the once-ler of the Backrooms.
Yeah, I literally made an image of this when his rewrite came out. I knew this would happen, and I just leaned into it to make a fun character. Because you know what? Sometimes once-ler type characters are fucking fun. They're fun as hell to write.
You are literally a homosexual.
Yeah? What about it, huh?
Gay, once-ler,
huh?
gay, once-ler, gay, once-ler.
What about it, huh? Huh?
God, if you're listening to this, I'm sorry.
Rat, listen, Rat, I'm not gonna lie, I kind of did the same thing I was making the Game Master, in the sense that I wanted to make a character that would be complete bait for people to simp over, so, you know.
To what?
You know, to simp over, because it's a once-ler type character. I feel like that's inevitable.
I don't think we should have that as the sole goal.
Because I feel like somebody will mention it, do not try and ship the Game Master with Entity 18, because I've mentioned it a few times in the tech support Discord server, which, if anybody reading this, listening to this, isn't familiar with the Discord, tech support is our official Wiki Discord server. If you want to be more involved with the community, it's a good place to join.
Link in the description.
But, I've mentioned it a few times in tech support, but you shouldn't try to ship Game Master with Entity 18 or just ship Entity 18 with women in general, because he is gay. He likes men. He is a squid man who likes other men. So just making it official another time. This squid man is gay, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Would Game Master call him a slur?
Squilliam fancy pants.
Jesus Christ.
Let's call him a slur. Answer now. I have a gun to your head.
No!
Yes.
Would the game out? Yay!
No!
What loses?
You love to see it.
Game Master homophobic moments.
Is the Game
also,
Master
somebody, if
you
somebody,
heard it here first, folks, the Game Master is homophobic.
If anybody if anybody is listening to this with completely removed from context, not knowing who we are, I should preface this that we're all LGBT.
Oh yeah,
okay?
I'm a lesbian. Yeah, no.
We are allowed to make jokes like this.
I'm one of the cool trans girls. I'm the quirky relatable trans girl.
I'm a man who loves other men.
And squids.
I am a non-binary.
Yay.
Love loses.
So now that that's out of the way,
man, can I just say something, please? This is the first episode of the podcast.
You're not allowed to talk.
We've already talked about shipping and how dysfunctional the wiki is. This is not a good look for us for the first episode. I'm just saying this.
Yeah.
I mean, at least we're honest, but you know, this may not end well.
Mm-hmm.
At least I'm funny and also sexy as hell and always correct, always, forever, and everything I've ever said in my life.
Bitches come up to me and tell me I'm funny AF on the Radio Backrooms podcast.
Someone's going to come up to me at my job tomorrow. This is a consistent joke in staff chat because I work at Burger King and I gone around Burger King and every day I come into the casual discussions and I'm like 5 o'clock and everyone's like, bring me back a burger. I'm like, I hope I die.
I just want you to survive.
And every time I just drop in, I'm like, 5 o'clock. Someone's going to recognize me at my job and be like, "Holy shit, it's Etoile from the Radio Backroom," and I'm going to be like, "Please don't shoot me in the head." They're going to shoot me in the head.
Because... Yay! I hope someday somebody recognizes me as a Backrooms Wiki staff member and also shoots me in the head. It's the fate I deserve.
Elias was added to staff earlier today, and he announced it in another server that we're all in, and I was like, L, and then like 6 people were like, L.
Yeah. It's just
we're getting there. We are getting there. It is an uphill battle, and we are doing our best, and we will eventually
make sorry for being a backroom staff member. Some crimes cannot be forgiven.
I don't do it on purpose.
Oh.
I don't. I didn't put myself
You applied for staff.
I did. I am not a head admin on purpose.
You dug yourself.
I never asked for this.
Now lie in it.
I am the oldest person on staff, and as such, I am legally obligated to.
Yay.
I'm only 20. That is so fucked up. I'm only 20 years old. I'm not
You're
old.
2 entire decades old. Haha, point and laugh at the 20-year-old.
Why am I old? I'm old.
I'm so young and youthful.
You're 17, right? Wait, both of you are 17, right?
No.
I'm 17. Wait, how old is Red?
All...
I don't know why I thought you were 17. I guess you're 16 then, right?
No.
Oh my god, there is a child.
I'm gonna be...
There is a child in this group
I'm literally just 2 years younger than you.
There is a child.
You're 18?
I'm gonna... Next December, I'm going to be legally old enough to drive a car.
But
I'm too afraid to do that because I'm awful with it.
I think if you're a backroom staff member, there's something wrong with your head and you shouldn't be allowed to drive.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I say this as I am Elias.
Hey, I just realized something. We have a list of topics, and we have talked about shipping for the most part, and not like, oh, what's it like? How was it like? Oh yeah, I guess we did actually. Never mind. Sorry. We just kind of missed a couple of things on the starting ideas thing. We just said it in the absolute worst way possible.
It just happened.
I think it's because we all have ADHD, either diagnosed or undiagnosed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that's what's going to happen here.
I do not.
I think the most ADHD thing about me is how I got my diagnosis. Somehow, me bringing up to my therapist that I think I may have depression somehow spiraled into me getting diagnosed with ADHD. And I think that is a very ADHD way of getting diagnosed with ADHD.
Yeah, that's true. I was diagnosed at 13. All right, no, I'm not going to get into that. What was I talking about?
So, first episode, and we're already talking about how we got a mental diagnosis.
Fine. Don't worry about it.
We are a normal staff team. Come here. We will not hurt you.
I am normal.
I have said this time and time again.
Let me out of my cage. I won't hurt you. I won't bite you. I promise.
Letter. Wait, should I swear? Am I allowed to swear? Can I say fuck?
We've sworn enough.
There's children in here. There's children in this call.
To any open freaking letter. I think everybody saw, and I'm going to bring up drama. Whatever. Like, who cares? We had to ban that guy from from our community because he was calling me a bitch, etc. on Reddit, which is kind of just the saddest way to get yourself banned from something.
Yay.
And I want to bring attention to one specific thing, which is that he called me a, quote, credit-hungry hippo, unquote, because I didn't give Rachel credit on my level 0 And then when this was mentioned, I was like, Rachel, do you want credit on my level 0 rewrite? And she was like, no, I do not.
Can I just say something? I've brought this up multiple times, but I will not get over how funny it is. It is not the most professional thing to talk about the people we ban in this nature, but it is still incredibly funny.
Hang on. You said we couldn't talk about the fandom.
Staff team for the people, and we are not going to pretend that bad things don't happen.
But like the funniest thing is that this dude in his whole manifesto, I forget who said they would edit this, but editor's note, put image of this dude's whole manifesto in here says, if you can,
pussy does
because it's fucking ridiculous. But like the whole thing, he sounded so entitled. Like, he mentioned, like, how he wanted the wiki, how he envisioned it. When he was never a staff member. If you really wanted to have the wiki how you envisioned it, literally just apply for fucking staff. Come on, man.
I'm like,
he's also not a writer, not a writer as well.
Yeah, like he just what he did was just record articles. He did not write or have help in writing, and just copied another content creator's format and just like read words into a mic. And I will say he sounds so entitled, but the funniest thing is that like going for people's fan base is very low, like the numbers of subscribers, but it's very funny how entitled he is when he isn't even the biggest off-site content creator for the community, yet he acts like he is. Like, there are literally people on TikTok with twice his following that do more for the
like that.
Do more for like sharing the community to off-site people.
Don't call me an ego bitch.
He has like, yeah, cause like it's just all very funny. Like, if you're going to like read things that you didn't even write into a mic and just do that, don't act like you're entitled to the community who gives you the content to read in the first place.
Right.
Like,
it's like
without us, you wouldn't be here. We would still be here if you didn't make this content. However, if like the wiki did not exist, you would not have your content. So it's very weird to act entitled when we're the ones that are making the content that you're reading off.
Right.
It's all very odd.
And I think there's a merit to reading channels in that.
I think on that vein, we should
just
like reading channels. Reading channels, one, are good for people who have hard time reading. Like, before I got into comics, because I'm unfortunately someone who enjoys comics. Before I got into comics, reading was just generally really hard for me, and I still have issues with it sometimes. But like, reading channels are good for those who have like trouble reading, like especially like, big chunks of paragraphs. And two, they provide good background noise, and like three, they help spread the content out to a wider audience who usually wouldn't be looking for this stuff, but like they'll just like, oh look, a cool reading video in my YouTube recommended, gonna click that. But at the same time, while you do help spread this to a wider community, at the same time, unless you're like bringing something new to the table, like adding some production quality, like voice acting or etc., if you're literally just reading words into a mic and having a static image on the screen, you should not act entitled to the community.
You are not a content creator. You are a content aggregator.
Yeah.
You are combining elements.
Reach.
Which is all well and good, but you're not making anything new.
I do want to say on that. I wanted to say on that vein, we should probably. Yeah, we should probably give a little shout out to this TikToker by the name of Nate the Great, who does similar to what. Sent to that. We're not.
It doesn't matter.
Are we supposed to say his name?
I'm only not saying his name to be funny, but like, you can if you want. I don't care.
Go wild.
Yeah, so I'm gonna censor that when I edit this. But anyway, Nate the Great. This is a really cool guy on TikTok who. He does actually make somewhat transformative content. He more like summarizes.
Yeah.
And I was actually I helped narrate one of his videos, and his content is just like genuinely really entertaining. It's it is TikTok, so it's shorter. It's very fast paced, and I think he would be a perfect.
That ND18 is British.
Nah, okay. Well, I was gonna actually. I was gonna.
Oh yeah, he did make an ND18 video.
Yeah, and he actually did two, pre-rewrite and post-rewrite. And his video for the post-rewrite ND18 is probably like the best way you could have like done a narration for his article with how it's formatted, and it's really cool. But it did certainly make him British.
Also, like, I think I was going to discuss this earlier, but this is kind of a funny phenomenon with my articles. Is that they're widely known, everybody kind of references them, but I don't see people making a lot of transformative content with them, and I think that is something I need to work on. Like, that's not y'all's fault, that's mine. I need to make something that like people will latch on to harder, if that makes sense. Like, level 404 being so highly rated just means that people know about it. It's start making stuff about it. Nate, if you're listening to this, please make a level 404 video. But that's kind of the kind of thing like I want to do, to make stuff that makes people want to make stuff, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I get that.
Yep.
Like stuff that makes people like want to like make fan art or like make tales involving these
the
things.
most fan content I get for level 404 is people just reposting it and pretending that it's a spooky thing that they found, which is like, okay, I guess I'm flattered and
But
everything.
I think that's why like POY formats are like such an easy format, because they're just making a character, and characters are very easy to make fan art for. And that's also why I think people also enjoy entities like Entity 18 and Game Master, because they're characters you can very easily like make content for, because they're very.
I need to talk about the Game Master fan art. This is really important. Yes.
Oh,
so when I made the Game Master, this is one of the first characters in the wiki that was actually like a character, like a hard character. This is a person basically. And when I designed this character, I literally I'm not getting to her origin story in this video, but basically this is the first time in my life where anything I've ever made, character or not, has gotten a ridiculous amount of fan art. So much art.
Yeah, I can see how that can.
It was such a weird experience because like.
Yeah, it's a weird feeling, but it's a nice one because like it's like whoa, people like the thing I made. Sure. That's really cool. And what was I gonna say? This is what happens when you make a podcast with people with ADHD. They forget what they're saying mid-sentence. But yeah, Entity 18. When I saw like his original article, I felt like there was something like he's a dude who resides in a hotel, but you decide to make him some scary, mysterious beast that kills you if you're insane and crazy. Yeah. When like, why don't you?
Cozy for gay.
but like he's literally in a hotel. Wouldn't it make more sense for like him to be like the owner of the hotel? You know, as like a big intimidating business guy type character. And that's what I did. He's an ominous businessman character, which are always fun as antagonistic characters.
Wait, God, I just had a realization. None of my characters are popular because none of them are man. I need to make a man. And I need to be awful.
I mean, Game Master isn't a man.
True.
And she's like the unofficial mascot.
She's like a funny little guy. Like she's like a funny little jester. And like
she's just a funny little clown. Is Jester?
I always just like a depressed 20-something, and like that's all well and good. Like people can relate to that, but also
exactly.
I have a fucked up squid and a kid who likes bugs.
You know what? I think people are going to like the Beastmaster when I write her. I think she's.
Yeah, I think I cannot wait for the Beastmaster. And I realize this recording is almost going to be an hour long, so maybe
I was gonna say cut it off at an hour. Like that's fine. Maybe
we should wrap it up soon.
Yeah, maybe now would be a good time to wrap it up since we've had like we were just supposed to talk about how we got into the backrooms, and somehow we've had several topics.
We talked about how I got into your mom.
God,
no!
Fucking damn it!
Okay.
So
I do have one final thing to say that I feel like is pretty important. So, like as most people know, that I'm banned from the SP Wiki, and then that's all whatever. But it does kind of engender something in me that I think is really important, and it's I want Backrooms staff to be approachable. I want you to think of us as people and not as your authority.
We are just
figures.
guys.
Obviously, like you should listen to us when we tell you to do shit, because it's usually us telling you to do like stop being annoying. But like, we're also just people.
We're also very smart.
Yeah, please do not idolize us or anything. It is weird, especially since like our head admin is literally
you can idolize me.
Some person who works at Burger King.
You can idolize me if you want, guys.
Just you can look up to us or whatever. Just be normal about it. Just remember that we're all people too. We're just like teenagers or young adults just writing shit, and just be normal. And I think that's a good note to like wrap up on. This whole pilot episode was a good example that we're just dudes that talk about shit that we find funny or interesting, And
And kind
actually,
of in that vein, something I try to do as staff is I don't want what we do and the decisions that we make to be a mysterious black box unless privacy is really,
yeah.
really, really important. So that's why I'm like making jokes about people that got banned and why I got banned. I don't want it to be all like some freaky secrecy thing. Like that just makes me.
Yeah, we don't want to appear like some secret organization that looks
Like,
over all of you.
Yeah.
Like we're
No.
in some fucking post-apocalyptic
Like
movie.
I don't
we're
take
just
staff
guys.
confidentiality very seriously. I don't take the wiki itself that seriously. I mean, like I do to a degree, but like we're all just guys.
We're all just guys on computers.
I don't want
typing our
anyone.
silly little
I don't want
words.
anyone to be scared of me. I don't want anyone to think of me like a teacher.
Yeah.
No, you should fear me though. I am so
Don't do that.
cool and amazing and terrifying.
You are the
I'm
least
like,
intimidating motherfucker on this entire.
Shut up! I'm so strong. I could lift like a chair.
I can't even say something about me.
And like you're not intimidating. And she's like, shut up.
I am literally into superhero comics. That's a self-own in itself.
This is so mean. This is
I'm
slanderous.
just a guy.
I literally like Metal Gear Solid 2: Sons of Liberty.
I'm literally a comic
I
fan.
am
I'm just
literally
a guy.
an SCP author.
You are literally an SCP author.
I am literally an SCP author. No fucking
Lol,
no,
SCP author.
Unforgivable.
Lol,
No,
but yeah, it should be clear by now that we basically take being a backroom staff member as a self-own. So yeah, just closing note. We're all just guys. Anything else you guys would like to say before we like cap it off?
Well, I would like. No, wait. I do want to say two things. First of all, upvote the Game Master because I want the Game Master to be the most highest rated NC again. And number two, leave a comment down below. Ask some cool questions. We may cover questions in a different video in the future, and also leave suggestions of who you would like us to feature as a guest. You know,
Yeah.
We've been planning on having some guests on the channel. I want to get Nate on the channel. I want to get David Crypt on the channel. That'll be a cool interview and guests.
It'll be really funny if we pull the conversations people give me. We just
just be sure to.
So
be sure to leave questions, suggestions in the comments, and anything you guys would like to plug.
And also remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe.
Yeah. Also, read level 90, the one I wrote.